Zack D films. We are going to be watching one of Zack D films. I literally saw this on TikTok, and I was like, yeah, I watched the comment section of that video I saw on TikTok was like, yeah, I watch Zack D films a lot. Too much of Zack D films. Zack D film this. Zack D films that. I have no idea who this guy is. 27 million subscribers, and I don't know who he is. Do I live under a rock? But we are going to be watching Zack D films. Probably a couple videos. Should we watch shorts? I'll go watch a video. Chat. Should we peek? Which should we peek? Okay, let's pick this one.
Complete creative freedom. Welcome to a
Chat.
Now double rich
Why do I keep
taste,
saying
more
chat?
enjoyment,
Guys.
and more value for your money.
This is what the Starbucks logo would look like from. Just like the sailors couldn't deny the seduction of the.
Is this what I'm supposed to be reacting to? No, we're gonna be reacting to his shorts. I feel like his shorts are watched more. The comeback stream happened today, but we had network issue. He hasn't released the video in 2 years, bro. Apart from this one, that's why I had 4.2 million views. When would I reach this level? Chat, guys, a pet reveal is going to be today. I'm going to be releasing the pet review today. I'm going to be releasing 13 videos today, so stay tuned. Stay tuned. Let us see.
If you stick a metal rod into the ground
Why would I stick a metal rod to the ground?
and run electricity through it, the current would move through the wet soil before zapping
What?
a worm. And this forces them to escape by wriggling to the surface. Now, if you had
Let's low-key play that
move
game.
through the wet soil before zapping
Yeah,
a
yeah,
worm.
yeah, yeah.
Thin holes. If you stick a metal rod into the ground and run electricity
For you wondering how is this possible, it's possible. Water conducts electricity.
through it, the current would move through the wet soil before zapping a worm. And this forces them to escape by wriggling to the surface. Now, if you had 500 trillion of these devices, you could cover the surface of the Earth. And with 130 million nuclear power plants, you could send enough electricity into the ground to pull up every single earthworm, covering the world in a layer of wriggling pink worms. If you stick a metal,
who wants to
thin
do that?
holes are drilled into the gold bar before tungsten rods are pushed
Tungsten. That's the hardest metal, I think.
inside. And after the surface is patched back up, it looks and weighs just like any other gold bar. You see, tungsten weighs almost the exact same as gold, so counterfeiters use these to trick customers. But if the bar is passed through an ultrasound check, the waves hit the tungsten differently, revealing the scam. Thin holes are drilled into. When you spray a German cockroach with poison, a special enzyme inside its
German roaches? Did I just hear a German cockroach?
body breaks down the chemicals
Alright.
before they can damage the roach's nerves, meaning the poison doesn't work. And if that roach lays eggs, many of their babies will inherit the same protection. Within months, those babies will have more babies, and eventually, most of the colony is safe from the poison. Now, a whole new group can survive the same poison and even stronger chemicals until you're
Chat, let me check the comments. Cockroach assembled. Of course, the German roaches are immune to that.
left with roaches that nothing can kill except a stomp. If you plucked one single hair off Robert's head, he would look exactly the same. Now imagine you pluck another, and soon you've taken dozens, maybe even 100. But Robert still looks normal. Now his hair might be slightly thinner, but no one would say he's bald. So you keep going. Hundreds turn into thousands. Now Robert's scalp is starting to peek through. People might say he's thinning, but he still wouldn't quite be bald. So what if you keep plucking until only
Do people really watch this?
all day.
he would slide the
I mean, curiosity.
arrow into the tube, then hide it in his sleeve. Inside the tube sat a compressed spring, held back by a small trigger. And when he flicked his wrist and pressed the trigger, the spring snapped forward, and the arrow shot straight out of his sleeve. Now, some versions had 2 barrels to fire twice in a row, and others even had multiple tubes to launch several at once, allowing you to shoot from close range while the weapon stays hidden. He would slide the... They kidnapped the musician, according to the
Why did they kidnap the musician? Why?
story. And when they arrived, he realized he was at the headquarters of a mafia boss who happened to love his music. So he was forced to play piano for the mobster's birthday. But according to him, he was showered with money and poured glass after glass of expensive champagne. After 3 days of performing, he was let go with his pockets stuffed full of cash and a great story. They kidnapped
W.
观察一栏
W's
深度去
wrapped the cable around Mount Fuji.
So what do you think I should do next for the next video? I'm doing a pet review. Should I... Oh, yeah, should we do an IRL stream? But like, yeah, should we do an IRL stream? Comment if we should do an IRL stream.
Before the massive motors pull it tight, which will separate billions of tons of rock from the bedrock below. Then drill thousands of deep shafts, driving giant steel anchors deep into the rock, and pump.
Where does he get his ideas from? That is one thing I want to know. Where does he get his ideas from? Because this is crazy. It's not even low-key crazy. It's not kind of crazy. It is crazy.
Grout to lock them into the mountain's core before wrapping the outside with steel mesh and massive bands. Then they glued the dead snail to a museum card before putting it on display, and it stayed in the same spot for years before they noticed that the card had become discolored. And when they removed it, they found a film over the shell's opening. So they placed it in warm water, and slowly the film softened, and the snail pushed its head out, still alive.
That's not possible. That's not possible. Who is bro? That's not possible. Snails have the instinct necessary to survive. Snail has nah. It's a fun fact. The ability of snails to sustain their bodies. Oh yes. Yeah, it's a lie. Can snails sleep for 3 years? Yes. Alive? Nah, this is crazy. Wait. How many years? How long does it take for a snail to die of hunger? If it takes, guys, genuinely, am I tripping? If it takes several weeks or a few months for a snail to die of hunger, how come a snail can sleep for 3 fucking years? How? I'm losing my mind. Like genuinely, it doesn't add up. Guys, if you know how you can explain this for me, just explain it in the comment section. It does not add up at all. Either this is cap or that is cap. No, bro, how can you sleep for 3 years? It's not possible. Fuck no. Hell no.
It had survived by shutting its body down for 4 years
4
until
years?
conditions were safe again. They glued the dead
Damn.
They pried the mirror off of the shower wall because they kept hearing a strange ringing sound, and they were shocked to find a hidden camera inside. They followed the cable through the house until they discovered a hard drive hidden in a closet, and suddenly realized their landlord had been watching them. But when police checked the drive, they found no files. Now this could mean it was streaming in real time, leaving no trace. But since there were no recordings, no one was charged, and the house mysteriously burnt down 2 weeks later, almost killing their teenage son. When the father went back to look through the rubble, he cut his leg, and it got so infected that he had to have it amputated.
No.
Meaning the family lost a leg, their home, and their privacy, while the landlord got away scot-free. If you play a game of chess, every move you make creates a unique path from start to finish. Now, your friend plays a separate game, and even if it looks similar, one different move makes it a complete...
I don't play chess.
Swag.
He was pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt, and officers gave him a test to see if he had been drinking, but they had to run the test again.
Where does he get these ideas from? This is crazy.
Under this...
Wait,
He was pulled over
chat,
for
this
not
is
wearing a
crazy.
seatbelt.
Zack D Films has 27 million subscribers. How many views in total? Say swear, bro. Say we lie, bro. 68 billion views. That's even more than Justin Bieber's. He has 68 billion views. This is crazy. You know how much money this bro has made? Oh my,
He was pulled over
word,
for
my
not
word.
wearing a seatbelt, and officers gave him a test to see if he had been drinking. But they had to run the test again. The man refused and walked toward the back of his van, saying that he was going to kill them. He yanked open the van doors, releasing his full hive
Where does he get it?
into the air, stinging officers as they sprinted for cover. Backup finally arrived and arrested the man, but he paid bail and was released just hours later. Under this carnival ride, you would bolt a 70-foot frying pan and leave a hole in the center.
Why? Where are you getting these ideas from? Genuinely, where are you getting these ideas from? Should I DM? No, like genuinely, where is he getting these ideas from? Like, because all right, that. Oh,
So the spinning arm can still turn. Then crack about 2 million eggs into the pan, and when the ride starts, the arms whip the pan in circles. This perfectly mixes the yolks and the whites like a whisk and soaks the riders inside. Then hire dozens of men with blowtorches to scorch the bottom of the pan. As the eggs cook, the spinning ride would keep folding them over. The riders might sustain some burns and other injuries, but you'll have hundreds of pounds of scrambled eggs to share. Under this carnival ride,
When playing games on PC, do you ever wonder if
he started painting walls as a teen, and his art spread across the city. People recognized it everywhere, making him a legend. But he got sick with a disease that paralyzed his body, and for 7 years, he could only move his eyes. So a team of programmers built him a pair of glasses with a camera. It tracked his eyes and moved a cursor on the screen. He would stare at a color to select it before moving the cursor to draw lines. as the device turned them into brushstrokes. The team projected the art onto buildings across the world, and from his hospital bed, he could paint again. The pilot would pull the ejection handle, igniting a small rocket under his seat. This would cause his body to be slammed with over 1,000 pounds of force, all in less than a second. And this would squish his spine downwards, packing it so tightly that in some cases, his spine wouldn't be able to stretch back, which could leave him a little shorter than he was before. The plastic cups are placed next to each eye, covering its side view, while a fuzzy tube is bent over its nose to block out the shadows on the ground. You see, horses can normally see almost everything around them, meaning small movements can easily distract them. By leaving only a tiny space for its vision, the horse can only see the path in front, and the distractions fade away.
That's smart. Subscribe. That's smart.
Horse crosses the finish line. Because when the distractions disappear in our life, the path forward usually becomes obvious. The plastic. Interlock your fingers tightly and fold them down. Then press the back. He checked into the hotel, but he didn't have any luggage. And once he was inside, he kept all the lights turned off. As the days passed, loud voices could. They drilled a hole into a plastic tube after breaking into the grocery store.
Why would you break into a grocery store?
You see, that tube was used to move cash into a locked vault. So they pushed a
That's why.
vacuum cleaner through the opening and sucked the money out. For years, the men robbed 15 stores this way, stealing over $800,000 in cash.
That's crazy.
They were finally caught on camera, but were never identified.
Manchester United versus Manchester City, the Saturday.
If you pick a 3-digit number like 861, where the first and last numbers have at least a difference of 2, and then flip it backwards and subtract the smaller number from the bigger one, flip that answer, and add these two numbers together, you'll get 1089 every time you use this pattern. You see, if you break the number apart, the middle digits match and cancel out when you subtract. This leaves you with the first number minus the. He used her fingerprints to open her phone and peeled back her eyelids using her face to unlock her bank account. You see, he was deep in debt from gambling, and when his ex-girlfriend got sick, he mixed cold medicine into her food, making her fall into a deep sleep. He sent himself over $20,000, which he used to pay off his debt, before running away to gamble even more. But when she woke up, she had several alerts from her bank, so she called the police and the man was eventually arrested. He used her. If you get buried by an avalanche, the snow will compress you on all sides.
Why would you get buried by an avalanche? Why?
Making it hard to tell which way is up. So if you try to dig your way out, you could end up going the wrong way and suffocate to death. Instead, some people say to cover your face and make an air pocket. Then start drooling. Whichever way the drool falls is down, so you should dig the opposite way. If you get buried by an avalanche, the snow will compress you on all sides. He pulled the bearings out of a skateboard and wrapped an old tube around them, then added a motor and put it in the fish tank. Next, he injected a shrimp with bacteria and let it run on the tiny treadmill before measuring the bacteria again. This showed how much bacteria stayed inside the shrimp and how many germs people might eat when it was served. But when people saw the experiment, if you were shrunk down and dropped in as Pac-Man, you would have to sprint through.
Why? Why would this happen?
Through the maze at about 12 miles per hour to escape the ghosts. But every time you eat a dot, you would slow down for a split second, letting the ghost creep closer behind you. You would also have to reduce your speed to make turns, while ghosts can turn almost instantly. And as you move through higher boards, you would have to increase your speed to 15 miles per hour, meaning once he built a wooden frame in the shape of a Lamborghini, then used a turning wheel to shape pieces of
I just thought about Euros. Euros. That's my favorite Lamborghini. Lamborghini Euros.
aluminum
I think we really has one.
to the body. Next, he welded the chassis, and over the course of 17 years, he put all the pieces together, adding an engine, seats, wheels, and lights. But since he had used his basement as a workshop, he couldn't get the car out. So he got a backhoe to dig a hole down to his basement. Then he created a ramp before knocking down the wall and pulling his dream car out on a sled. If you took every single block from the Great Pyramid and stacked them into one giant tower, that tower would be nearly 2,000 Burj Khalifas tall, blowing way past the International Space Station straight into space. But if we took all those blocks and flattened them into one giant walkout, it would take the king of boxing, Alexander Usyk, over 20 straight days of walking to make his fight with the king of kickboxing, Rico Verhoeven, at the pyramids of Giza. Two champions of different fighting styles facing off at the most iconic place on Earth. And you can watch this epic event on Saturday, May 23rd, exclusively on DAZN.
Whoa! Oh, yeah. This guy is really smart. You are intelligent, bro. For what you just did.
If you took every single block from the Great Pyramid and stacked them into one giant tower, that tower would be If you took every single block
Who won in Usk and who won in Us? Wait, Usk and who?
from the Great Pyramid and stacked them into one giant tower, that tower would be nearly 2,000 Burj Khalifas tall, blowing way past the International Space Station straight into space. But if we took all those blocks and flattened them into one giant walkout, it would take the king of boxing, Alexander Usyk, over
Alexander Usyk.
over 20 straight days of walking to make his fight with the king of kickboxing, Rico Verhoeven,
Rico Verhoeven.
at the
Rico Ver. But he hasn't. Whoa.
the pyramids of Giza. Two champions of different fighting styles facing off at the most iconic place on Earth. And you can watch this epic event on Saturday, May 23rd,
That's today.
exclusively on DAZN.
That's today. Shall we literally watch this? That's today. Okay, we're gonna watch this. We are gonna watch this.
If you took
So I think that's all for today. There's gonna be part two of this vid. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like the vid, share the vid. We're trying to reach 1.5k subs, and I can't do it without you. I can't do it without y'all. So please and please subscribe and mix out. This is just